The Nigerian embassy in Warsaw, Poland, says it has evacuated several Nigerians from Ukraine to Poland since Saturday. While this success is recorded despite initial setbacks that the Nigerian nationals had in crossing over to the Polish side of the border from Ukraine. Several of the evacuees noted that they were received by embassy staff at the borders and thereafter moved to Warsaw, the Polish capital, which is a 7-hour drive from the border. All right, let's deepen the discussion now with the Director of Consular and Legal Department in the Nigerian Foreign Ministry, Ambassador Bolaji Akinremi, who joins us in the studio. Thank you for your time and joining us here. Well, many Nigerians actually have condemned what they see as a federal government's lackluster approach to the Ukraine crisis when it comes to Nigerians there. Though some of the reports show that a few Nigerians have been evacuated. What exactly were the challenges? Why it's like it's taken about a week for anything to be done?
Well, thank you so much for having me tonight. And let me start by saying that we should learn also to commend efforts rather than condemning.
That's exactly what I did with
several Nigerians who are talking about not being proactive or whatsoever. It appears they have more intelligence reports than us. Apart from the United States and probably one or two European countries that evacuated their diplomats, there was no other country apart from India that evacuated, and you can't compare the number of Indians and the fact that they were able to make it just before. And you must also refer to the categories of people that they evacuated. Now in Ukraine, we have 5,735. These are official students, record of students. I wouldn't be surprised if we have more than that. And certainly from our record, we have more than that. Now we're not talking about number of Nigerians. If you get to the city of Kyiv, you probably hear broken language speaking on the street. I've been there myself, my children's school there early 2000, and I know what I used to see when I go there, when I went there. Oh, so the effort at this time should be commended. Number one, when it was brewing, the ambassador did say it loud and clear, Ambassador Shino Alege, that this is happening. We advise you to be calm. We advise you to read online and get instruction. Presidents and coordinators of student unions were contacted. Association leaders were contacted. And all of these were going on before the first shelling, before the first bombing. And at the time it happened, the ambassador again went online to say this has commenced. As we said, the first thing is to keep calm. But if you must move towards this direction. And that's what we've been saying. Because
make private efforts or personal efforts to get yourself to the borders. That was the instruction.
As soon as there was bombing, the airspace were closed.
Okay, so the commendation, I guess, will be louder when we get every person who wants to get back home safe and sound. But we have been inundated with the cries of Nigerians in Ukraine, crying for help, especially Nigerian students, and that should worry anybody. There are also stories of Ukrainian border guards not letting them get through. So although the Nigerian government has said there are safe countries to get to, such as Poland, Hungary, and Romania. They are saying Slovakia. They're not able
Slovenia.
to, and the list goes on. The problem is, if they cannot leave Ukraine, then they cannot get to those safe countries we talk about. What is being done to fast track that process, and why are Nigerians being stopped from leaving Ukraine?
They were leaving Ukraine, and they are still leaving. As we speak now, trains are walking in Ukraine, and the challenge was at the border. And if you live in Europe, you know that the migration laws are very strict, and particularly against African. I don't want to believe that these were directed strictly against Nigerians, because nobody writes on their forehead that they are Nigerians, but they can easily see your skin, and everybody condemns that. I mean, that is barbaric, and that is not expected at this stage, but that is what we got. And as the Honorable Minister said, it wasn't against Africans alone. Even the Indians complained about this. And I think if you know the history of Russians and Ukrainians, you know that they are typically like that. You know, but in one situation like this, what we have found out is that most Ukrainians at the border city want to leave. And so they were giving priorities to their own people to escape to Poland and the rest.
What are we doing about that discrimination? Because there have been reports of racial discrimination, as you've pointed out, and reports of torture. They are being beaten.
Yes.
What is the Nigerian government doing about that?
The first thing here is to summon the ambassador in Nigeria.
Has it been summoned?
Oh, yes. And in no clear terms, in very clear terms, spoken to, this is unacceptable. And in any case, even the countries that are going to receive them, we're in touch with them. Because you need to soften the ground for them to be acceptable, because most Nigerians are undocumented migrants. And so that brings difficulty. And what we've done is to secure the understanding of these countries to accept them to come in. Now, if you talk just about evacuation, it's a whole lot. Like the Honorable Minister said, this is not international best practices. Nigeria is just doing it. But even as we're doing it, we ensure that we're very economical with it.
Yeah.
Because there will be no point to send a jumbo jet and not to have people. The question is, how many Nigerians are willing to come?
Thank you so much, Ambassador Bolaji Akinremi, for joining us. I hope you are able to evacuate them faster than expected.